Good afternoon and welcome to the Joint Committee on Education and Labor and Technology. Today is Wednesday, February 5th. It's 3:00 p.m. We are in room 229 and we are here today to hear Senate Bill 420 relating to education. This bill allows newly graduated high school students to be eligible for workers' compensation coverage during the summer following their high school graduation while participating in Department of Education sponsored work-based learning programs. Okay. So Senate Bill 420. To start off, we have our Department of Education Superintendent.
Good afternoon, Chair and Vice Chair. I'm Tammy Chun, Deputy Superintendent for Keith Hayashi. We're standing in support of standing in support of the bill and referring to our written testimony on this matter.
Thank you. Senator, would you like to start with questions?
I have no questions.
I have no questions. Okay. Superintendent or Tammy, how many students and new graduates, new high school graduates would this bill impact?
We have not been able to, we've not brought on new graduates as interns under these conditions before, so we don't have track record on this, but we would imagine somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 50 in the to 100 in the first year.
Thank you. So how or will this positively impact these students in the work-based learning programs?
Oh, absolutely. This is really an important experience for students and an important transition for students who have graduated and moving on to the workforce. It'll give them experience to be able to pursue and to build skills to be more ready to apply for employment post high school.
Can you describe various partnerships with employers, community partners, military or higher education institutions?
Sure. So we have different partnerships that offer students work-based learning experiences. The ones that are currently state funded through the DLIR Hele Imua program, we are currently only offering to students who are doing DOE work sites, internships at DOE work sites. There's a separate bill that would allow our students to do those internships at private sector organizations. But in terms of partnerships, some of the partnerships for work-based learning, for example, include the Hawaii Lodging and Tourism Association. With their own funding in prior year, they were able to offer students internships, paid internships at hotels.
So I have not seen that separate bill. Has it been sent over already?
Let me just double check on the bill number. We'll look it up.
Okay, thank you. Members, questions? Any questions, Senator? Any questions?
So right now, these students aren't eligible, if this question was asked and
No,
answered.
not
Okay.
For workers' compensation, if
Right.
they're participating in internships, correct.
But if it's a regular summer job,
If they're employed as employees, then they would be eligible as employees for workers' comp.
so as an internship, do they receive compensation?
Interns may or may not receive compensation.
Okay, so if they don't receive compensation, where does the money come from to pay them the workers' comp?
So
Because doesn't the employer normally have to put into the workers' comp?
So under the current statute, the Attorney General's interpretation is that if students are still enrolled, not graduated yet, that DOE workers' compensation would cover them while they're participating in DOE-sponsored internships. So this is to extend the period of coverage for until July 31st after high school graduation for students who are participating in the same internship
Oh, I see.
type programs.
Okay, and the DOE isn't supportive of this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions, members? So do we have you don't have a number yet as to how many students are in this category?
We would newly be able to offer this, so I would estimate perhaps 50 to 100 in the first year.
That's for all DOE schools.
Correct.
And can you describe the types of partnerships with employers or community partners, military, and higher education institutions that we currently have?
Sure. So we have opportunities for our students to participate in, for example, pre-apprenticeship programs with the Carpenters Union, the Carpenters Training and Apprenticeship Program. So that's a short-term opportunity for students to learn some skills and also to have some experiences to decide if they want to pursue the full apprenticeship program.
Thank you. Further questions, members? Sure, go ahead.
So do you have experience in terms of like numbers? I mean, they're not in very dangerous kinds of work that they do when they're interning, but do you have any idea of what kind of accident?
Yeah, it's, hang on, I have that information. We have not had, my recollection is that we have not had any incidents with students in terms of workers' compensation. And from a cost point of view, DOE's, what DOE is requested in terms of overall workers' compensation would cover the cost, so there'll be no additional cost for this bill. And as for Senator Kidani's prior question, hang on, let's see, some more examples here. Just as an example of the kind of funding, we have had students participate in design and technology lab to be able to learn how to use different kinds of media equipment. So, but the primary place that students have been, a lot of the internships have so far been through the state-funded program, has been on campus or at DOE facilities doing a variety of different kinds of occupations at the DOE.
So currently, this workers' compensation coverage ends at the time of graduation.
Correct.
So if they work through the summer, they're not covered currently. This bill would allow them to be covered.
Correct.
And that would extend through the summer,
Through July 31st.
through July 31st only.
So it'd be maybe 2 months after graduation.
And this is for high school seniors who have graduated.
Correct.
Members, further questions?
So it's covered. You say your coverage for them during the school year will just continue on if this passes?
The bill would extend it. The current coverage is while they're students. Once they graduate, they would no longer be considered a student, so this would just extend the coverage for up to 2 more months.
Without additional cost?
Correct.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, further questions? If not, recess. Thank you. Reconvening the joint committee hearing of Education and Committee on Labor and Technology for Senate Bill 420 relating to education. This allows newly graduated high school students to be eligible for workers' compensation coverage during the summer following their high school graduation while participating in Department of Education-sponsored work-based learning programs. The Committee on Education is ready to vote. Are you ready to vote, Kristen? So, recommendation for both committees is to support this bill. Amended. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. We have to defect the date to July 1, 2050, and this will be changed hopefully when it gets to Wigs and Means. Thank you. Ready for the vote, Senate Vice President?
Okay, so for Senate Bill 420, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair Kidani,
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Hashimoto,
Aye.
Senator Kuduma.
Aye.
Senator Decor,
Aye.
5 ayes. Recommendation is adopted, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Labor and Technology. Same recommendations, defecting the effective date to July 1st, 2050. Questions or concerns, members? Seeing none, Senator Moriwaki for the vote.
Okay, for Labor Committee, those voting aye, Chair Aquino,
Aye.
Senator Lee, excuse, Senator Ihara,
Aye.
Moriwaki, aye, and Senator Favela, excuse. Legislation, bill adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the Committees on Education and Labor and Technology have passed out Senate Bill
Oh, shit.
420 with amendments. Hearing is adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Committee on Education. We are now reconvening this meeting this is Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. It's 3:02 p.m. agenda, and we are in hearing room 229. This meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event that we must abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business on Friday, February 7, 2025 at 3:00 p.m. in room 229, and a public notice will be posted on the legislature's website. Members, we are here to discuss Senate Bill 844, proposed SD1, relating to education. This bill appropriates funds to the Department of Education to fulfill the local farm-to-school meal goal, requiring 30% of the food served in public schools to consist of locally sourced products. Oh, sorry. Oops, mistake, sorry. The purpose of this decision-making meeting is to insert substantive provisions into the following short-form bill. A public hearing will be scheduled at a later date at which testimony will be accepted. This is for Senate Bill 894 relating to education, proposed SD1. Did I shake up the Department of Education? Okay. And this,
Checking you guys on your toes.
just checking. So Senate Bill 894 appropriates funds to the Department of Education to fulfill the local farm-to-school meal goal, requiring 30% of the food served in public schools to consist of locally sourced products. And the recommendation is to adopt this proposed SD1. Members' questions? Ready for the vote?
No. Just that I didn't have it on my agenda. I don't know what happened to my agenda.
This is decision-making only.
No, but it is.
We're just ready
Okay.
for the vote, right?
Okay, so the recommendation is to amend Senate Bill 894 to include the amendments that was read to by the chair. And so any discussion, hearing none, the chair?
Aye.
Kidani? Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Hashimoto?
Aye.
Senator Kuduma?
Aye.
Senator DeCourt is excused. 4 in support and voting aye, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, and that concludes our
That's a decision.
decision-making. We have another agenda.
Yes.
reconvening the Committee on Education for our next agenda. First one on the agenda, Senate Bill 789 relating to school cafeteria meal costs. This bill repeals the requirement that the Department of Education set school cafeteria meal prices at no less than half the cost of meal preparation. To testify, Superintendent, please.
Aloha, Aloha Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and members of the committee. Excuse me, Dino Chida, Deputy Superintendent, testifying on behalf of the Department of Education. The department stands in its written testimony which provides comments on this measure. The department is requesting that rather than repeal the existing requirement, that the threshold instead be lowered to 1/4 of the cost of preparing the meal. This would align it with the language in our administrative bill package, which is Senate Bill 1394. Thank you.
Okay, members' questions? Yes.
I have a question. So what prompts this measure? Why do we need it?
The repealing of the 50%.
Or whatever you're asking for?
Yeah, it was, we tried to go to the Board of Education to increase it, because right now we're charging like $275, but it costs us about $9 per meal. So we weren't in compliance with the statute. We went to the board, they didn't want to increase the rates, they just wanted to increase it for adults and for the second meal. And they wanted to keep everything the same because of, everybody's having a hard time with the economy the way it is. So, we need to address the statutory requirement at the 50%. So that's why the bill came in. They wanted to lower it. We're kind of at the 1/4 right now at $275 at $9.
You're at what cost right now?
Yeah, $9 per plate. And we're charging $275.
And this bill would raise it to what?
Would be like 25%, so 450,
225?
yeah, 225.
Oh, no, this bill would be half the cost, so it would be 450.
Yeah, we go 1/4 can be.
But you're at 275.
Yeah, so.
So if we
at
go
one-
1/4, it's lower than the 275.
Yeah. We're above, we're gonna be above the 225. The 225 is 1/4 of our costs. We're charging
So you want
275.
to be in compliance, basically want to be in compliance with the statute.
Right, correct.
So it's not to raise it.
Yeah.
Well, next question. So this bill, I would think this is a better bill because it has no requirement, right?
Yeah, I think you can
You're
say.
deleting everything, you're deleting the 50% requirement, right?
Yeah, we're asking for the 25%.
But that's
to
in
be-
your bill package.
Right.
This one, I'm looking at it, just deletes. So
Right.
this one has nothing,
Right.
but you guys want something in the statute.
I guess to be consistent with the package that was submitted.
So why was the DOE not following the statute?
We hadn't done an increase since 2015, and then COVID hit, and so everything got pushed back.
So nobody was worried that they were not in compliance with the statute.
I think it came to our attention, I guess, towards the end of last year, so we
So
started,
nobody figured it out until last year.
I guess so.
Interesting. Well, because I think obviously, just based on what happened in the news and the outcry, it's a very touchy subject, and so you probably have to have a long-term plan. Like you have to tell them, okay, within the next 8 years, this is what the increase is, but
Well,
you haven't touched it since 2015 and then have no plan.
But we tried to increase it, getting it closer to 50%, but staging it over a 4-year period, so gradually stepping up.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, it's like quarter increases, right? And you're saying a couple dollars. That's like, of course, people are gonna flip out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
And then, the cost of, the cost of the food is gonna go up too, right? So we gotta try and figure out how you're gonna pace it with the cost of the rising cost of the food going up. That's not addressed anywhere, just, it says 50% of the cost of the meal, right? So,
okay, so the department's intention though is whatever we put in the statute, you guys are gonna comply.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Senator Kim?
So with all the bills going on about free lunch for everybody, well, then this bill becomes moot, right, at some point,
Yeah,
if that passes.
yeah, It'll be moved.
And so when these bills are coming up and what the cost might be, you're using the current cost of preparation per meal as to look at what the cost might be
Right.
to the state.
Right.
Thank you.
Further questions, members? Thank you. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify on this measure? Okay, moving on.
No, no.
Oh, please come forward.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair Nate Hicks with Hawaii Public Health Institute. We really appreciate you folks hearing this bill and introducing it. Point's pretty clear. School meal prices are, shouldn't be doubled as we've seen in the news recently, and removing this would be a great step. So we're definitely in support of this. And we think, not instituting the quarter would be the better move. We don't want to tie the department's hands and making sure that they follow, right? If costs go up all of a sudden, we don't want a big jump. So removing it entirely would be a great step. Thank you.
Thank you. That was him. Daniela? Is there a Daniela?
Good afternoon, Chair Kim, Vice Chair, or Chair Kadani, Vice Chair Kim. My name is Daniela Spoto. I am with Hawai'i Appleseed. We are in support of this measure, and I also just wanted to acknowledge Senator Hashimoto's remarks. I do think this is the better bill, the bill that Deputy Uchida was referencing. If the goal is eventually to have free school meals for children, which we hope that it is, this would just eliminate one more barrier towards that, whereas the governor's package bill would still have this additional statute in there, this barrier in the statute that 25% of the costs need to come from parents. So it doesn't necessarily require that they make the meals free, but we do think that this just sort of makes it simpler if that is the eventual goal. So thank you so much for hearing my testimony.
Thank you. Anyone else here wishing to testify on this measure?
Can I ask one more question of DOE? So this would cover not just student meals, but adult meals as well?
I think the board wants the adult meals closer to what we're paying.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So that's
why
separate. So
they
that's
didn't
not
touch it.
covered in
Right.
this language.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, members. No further testifiers, and we will move on to Senate Bill 449. Relating to capital improvement, establishes a school capital improvement project modernization initiative in the School Facilities Authority to create a planning database for school facilities and appropriates funds. To testify, Superintendent.
Thank you, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and members of the committee. Dino Chida, Deputy Superintendent, testifying on behalf of the Department of Education. The department stands on its written testimony, which provides comments on this measure. While our department appreciates the role of the School Facilities Authority, we continue to serve as the overall lead for CIP and deferred maintenance projects. We believe the department is best suited to oversee the overall planning, development, and construction of its facilities, and believe that a planning database would be better suited within our department rather than duplicated under the SFA. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Further testimony?
Good afternoon, Senate Committee on Education. Ricky Fujitani with the School Facilities Authority. We support this bill. We feel that Hawaii needs to develop a plan for the tectonic changes coming about as the federal programs and funding for education will dramatically change. In the 14th edition for Mandate for Leadership, also known as Project 2025, the common theme is student choice, and that will have a amazing impact on the way schools in Hawaii are run and funded, especially when, in our case, 20% of the kids are in private schools, 7.9 are in charters and homeschools. So the impact is great. What this bill does is create a proactive decision-making tool for legislators where the data schema will be by legislative districts. So key questions for the legislators who deal with funding, budget, and spending will be answered ahead of time. Questions like why should we build, what should we build, and where we should repurpose. So we are very much in support of this bill. Thank you.
Members' questions? Thank you, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, Senator Hashimoto, and Horiichi from the Department of the Attorney General. In our testimony, what we noted is that the bill places this new section in the subpart C of Part 6, Chapter 302. That's the subpart that relates to the School Facilities Authority, to make it clear that references to the board in this new section are relate to the Board of Education rather than the School Facilities Authority Board. We've suggested amendments in our testimony to insert the words of education in the new or in the statute so that it's clear that the references to the board are to the BOE and not the SFA board. I'll be available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Members' questions? None? Thank you. Is there anyone else here to testify on this measure? Not? Question?
So I'm hearing DOE, and then I guess FSF, Ricky. So DOE is saying that they're best suited to oversee the overall planning, right? And therefore, you're saying that this funding and I guess the database should be in the department and not duplicated under SFAs. So is this duplicating or what's happening?
Well, it doesn't exist now, so the
Right.
key is to build it as
Right.
quickly as we can.
So
We feel
we're not, right now, there's no duplication because we don't have it.
none.
So is that your understanding? Okay, so you're saying it shouldn't be in FSA, you should only be in DOE.
Correct.
Okay. And you're saying that you guys are the ones responsible for the planning.
No,
No?
we're saying this thing has to be done.
Are you
Give
saying
it to us
should-
or give it to them, but we got to build this.
Right, but who is the more, who, or should it be both places, or who is the one that's supposed to be overseeing this?
Definitely, we have to work with each other, but who can move fastest to get this thing up and running as quickly as we can?
Well, who can?
SFA can.
You saying you guys can?
No. Give us the money and we'll do it.
No, but that's what you guys say, and then you guys, I mean, the
Well,
reason.
no matter who does it, somebody needs to get the money. So
Yeah.
if you're not gonna ask, you're not gonna get.
Yeah, all right.
But the thing is, you guys have a history of, that's why FSA, we created all this stuff, you have a backlog of, so when you're saying give it to you guys and you guys are gonna do it, I don't necessarily have faith that it's gonna happen in a timely manner. I'm sorry, that's,
I know, yeah, our history is not so good.
yeah.
But we're trying to make some changes within the organization that can be better responsive, getting better
I mean,
people
you
in
folks already
place.
have this huge bureaucracy that, yeah, so if you folks get it, then you folks will work with.
Oh, absolutely, we have to, because all it is provides information to make better
Right,
decisions,
decisions.
right? Ultimately, the decisions have to be made by the legislature who decides funding, or the DOE who decides repurposing and reusing.
So
But
we
right
could
now,
put
we
some
need that.
language in the bill or in the committee report to assure that happens.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So let me ask this. So currently, does the DOE work with SFA at all, or does SFA work with the DOE at all, or how are you doing projects?
Right now, there's 4 standing committee meetings where we regularly meet with the DOE for each of the programs that we run. First, there's an overall one where we meet monthly, and that involves operations, Dean, Audrey Hidano,
Right, I think you
and
told
Chief of
us
Staff. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
same.
but who's the lead?
Myself, and in the case of the overall, Chief of Staff, which is Camille. Then in the Central Maui schools, the lead is JD Norasaki and Brenda Lowry, who are in charge of new schools. In the case of workforce housing, We hope to work with the land department at the DOE. And then the third one, in terms of middle-income housing, our lead right now is Fred Murphy, but we want better oversight with either, the best person would be Audrey Adano. And she's in charge of scheduling that regular meeting now.
And Audrey is with DOE.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Good questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senate Bill 423, relating to the Early Learning Board, adds the director of the Hawaii Head Start State Collaboration Office or their designee as an ex officio non-voting member to the Early Learning Board, requires the Early Learning Board to invite the president of the Head Start Association of Hawaii or their designee to serve as an ex officio non-voting member of the board. Is Yukio Alakawa Cross here?
Hi, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and Senator Hashimoto. I'm Yuko Arikawa Cross, Director of the Executive Office on Early Learning. We stand in strong support of SB 423, and we thank the committee for hearing this bill. Back in 2011, then Governor Neil Abercrombie declared the Early Learning Council by way of executive order as the state's advisory council. Over the years, it was replaced by the Early Learning Advisory Board, and now it's currently the Early Learning Board. And so as a result, the Early Learning Board needs to comply with certain requirements of the Federal Head Start Act. So in 2023, Act 170 restructured the composition of the Early Learning Board, and this bill just makes the change that's needed to realign the new composition with the Head Start Act. So adding the State Director of Head Start Collaboration, as you mentioned, and also inviting the president of the Head Start Association or the president's designee. The Head Start Act also requires that the board include a representative of local providers of early childhood education and development services. So the membership of our current board does already include an individual who satisfies that requirement. However, EOEL recommends that the bill be amended to ensure that this requirement is not accidentally overlooked in future years and has suggested language for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, questions? Thank you, Yukio. Anyone else here wishing to testify on this measure? Elaine Yamashita, who's chair of Early Learning Board, is that you on Zoom?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Aloha, Chair. Aloha, Vice Chair. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify on this. And we stand on the testimony of Executive Office. And I submitted my testimony a little early. So the language I will that we are suggesting, I'm going to defer to the EOEL version. We discussed it yesterday, and the EOEL version of the language we're suggesting is more appropriate. So thank you for consideration, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Elaine. Members, questions? No, thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, moving on. Senate Bill 1384 relating to the Early Childhood Education Special Fund. This bill amends Section 302L9E HRS to require stipend funds repaid by a stipend recipient pursuant to Section 302L HRS to be deposited into the Early Learning Special Fund established pursuant to Section 302L5 HRS. To testify, Yukio Arakawa Cross.
Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and Senator Hashimoto, Yuko Arikawa Cross, Director of the Executive Office on Early Learning. We are in strong support of SB 1384, and we thank the committee for hearing this bill. Act 210 SLH 2021 established the Hawaii Early Childhood Educator Stipend Program to address the shortage of qualified early childhood educators in Hawaii. The Act specified that recipients of the stipends who do not satisfy the requirements of the program must repay the stipend funds, and added a new section to HRS establishing the Hawaii Early Childhood Educator Special Fund, into which any repaid stipend funds were to be deposited. However, Act 210 also specified that the special fund shall be abolished and repealed on June 30, 2023. As a result, the fund was abolished in 2023 and is no longer in use. This bill is a housekeeping measure that deletes Section 302L10 HRS, which established the Early Childhood Educator Special Fund, and redirects any stipend funds repaid by a stipend recipient to the Early Learning Special Fund instead. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Questions?
How much is in the early learning stipend fund, early learning special fund?
So the only amount that we've ever deposited into the Early Learning Special Fund is maybe like about $2,500 that we received from a Hawaii Dental Service grant.
And what kind of stipends normally would get put into when it was under the early educator
The
special
early,
fund?
so the Early Childhood Educator Special Fund, so we do have a early learning stipend program. And so it's, if anybody should default on it, then the money should go into the special
What
fund.
kind of default?
So for example, if somebody withdraws from the program or if they're
I
terminated.
understand, but over the year, how much was that? Was that a lot of money or just?
Okay.
minimal?
So as of summer of 2024, there were only 9 recipients, and the total is $31,864 that we're in the process of recouping from these individuals.
How hard is it to recoup?
Well, we're giving them notice, and then at the same time, we're trying to look into contracting for a collections piece, because this is something new for our office.
That's such a small amount to go to a contractor, right?
Yes, so that's why we're trying to recoup it from them directly.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, members? Thank you, Yukio.
Thank you.
Is there someone else on Zoom wishing to testify? Elaine Yamashita?
Yes, mahalo. Okay, here I am again, Chair of the Early Learning Board, and we stand on our testimony. Mahalo.
In support. Thank you, Elaine.
In support, yes.
Members' questions? Thank you. If not, moving on to our final agenda item. Senate Bill, it is our final. Senate Bill 684 relating to the Board of Education requires the Board of Education to adopt administrative rules to ban the usage of cell phones at Department of Education schools. Does DOE have testimony on this? No? To testify, Andrew Crossland, here. Renee Diaperink, in support. Alice Abelinida, also in support. Any additional testifiers present or on Zoom wishing to testify? If not, members' questions?
DOE, I guess. I introduced a similar bill. So is there a problem? Does the DOE see any problem with the cell phone situations with students during classroom time?
So every school currently sets their own policy regarding the use of cell phones. So there's a variety of different ways schools deal with that.
Do you think there should be a more consistent model?
There could be a more consistent model. I do think that we have not heard schools ask us to provide more consistency. Some schools say no cell phones at all. Some say none during instructional hours, not during class, unless the teacher asks you to bring it out. Some say they can't be brought out at all. So I think we could have more consistency.
And
Although
you have that ability without a measure, right? Without a bill?
correct.
So why don't you? I mean, the number of bills have been introduced on the House side and on our side. And I know parents have talked to me and they applaud having a measure like this. So I think the fact that the schools, kids move from school to school, different policies that would behoove us, DOE, not to have a more consistent policy throughout the schools. I may not be so restrictive, that's why we're leaving up the details and the policy to DOE, but we want you guys to come up with something.
So we're working with the Board of Education, and the board has an intention to set a board policy regarding cell phone use in schools.
Okay, are you folks aware of the different types of items out on the market, which you, like, they have these little pockets that kids can put their cell phones into that locks and then opens after, when are they allowed to, or other measures? I've been to conferences and there's all of these different ways in which the schools can achieve that purpose. Are you folks aware of all of those?
Yes, Senator, some schools use the pouches currently.
Okay, well, again, even more so, if some schools use it, others don't. I mean, it would be, I think, helpful for parents out there to understand what the policies are, because they have kids in different schools and have different policies, so.
The expectation is that the board will set a policy this year in collaboration with the department.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, members.
Oh, I should just correct, the board is going to work on the policy. I'm not sure it'll be this school year, but I would expect it would be in place before next legislative
Is there a
session.
resolution to this?
Nice, okay.
That was requested in the board's testimony, a resolution.
Thank you. Okay. No one else here to testify on this measure? Okay, we're going to recess. Thank you, members. The committee is reconvening, Committee on Education, and with regard to Senate Bill 789, we are going to, this is relating to school cafeteria meal costs. Recommendation is to pass with amendments, changing the requirement of the threshold to 1/4 of the cost of preparing meals, and also defecting the date to July 1, 2050. Questions, members?
Okay, no questions. A recommendation is to pass with amendments, Senate Bill 789. Senator Kidani.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Hashimoto.
Aye.
Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Senator DeCourt.
Aye.
5 ayes, recommendations adopted.
Thank you. Members, on Senate Bill 449 relating to capital improvement, recommendation of the chairs to defer this measure. For Senate Bill 423 relating to the Early Learning Board, my recommendation is to pass with amendments and to include the testimony of the Executive Office of Early Learning and defect the date to July 1, 2050. Members' questions? If not, chair votes aye.
If not, recommendation is Senate Bill 423, pass with amendments. Any member voting no, any member voting with reservations. Hearing none, all 5 members in the affirmative, recommendations adopted.
Thank you. For Senate Bill 1384 relating to Early Childhood Educator Special Fund, recommendation of the chair is to pass with amendments, and we will defect the date to July 1, 2050. Chair votes aye.
Any member voting no, any member voting reservations. Hearing none, all 5 members present voting in the affirmative, recommendations adopted.
Thank you. For Senate Bill 684 relating to the Board of Education and the usage of cell phones at DOE schools, the chair would like to defer this matter and would like the Board of Education to take up this matter rather than this committee. Thank you. Any questions? Meeting's adjourned.